A storm is gathering inside South Africa's correctional system. Correctional Services Minister Pieter Groenewald has just delivered one of the most unexpected, controversial, and dramatic proposals in recent political memory, a plan that could change prisons, taxpayer burdens, and even the meaning of rehabilitation in South Africa forever. For years, South Africa's correctional services have been bleeding money. Billions have been cut from the budget, yet the costs of feeding, securing, and rehabilitating prisoners continue to climb. Citizens are struggling, taxpayers are stretched thin, and questions of justice are being asked louder than ever before. Now, Pieter Groenewald says he has the solution, and it's nothing short of explosive. His initiative? Forcing South Africa's prisons to produce their own food, their own bread, and their own essentials. A radical shift designed not just to save money, but to completely transform how prisoners live and how the public views incarceration. At the center of this story lies a staggering number, our $11.7 billion. That's how much has been stripped away from the Department of Correctional Services in just the past 5 years. With that kind of cut, Groenewald insists there's no choice. Prisons must become self-sustaining or collapse under the weight of their own costs. In an interview with Radio Islam International, the minister's words were sharp, almost uncompromising. I believe they must produce some of their food themselves. And the reason is we must save the taxpayers' money. The initiative has already begun. In KwaZulu-Natal's Westville Correctional Center, the 13th prison bakery has just been opened. The goal? 20 bakeries across the nation by 2028. These bakeries are not just feeding inmates, they're training them, giving them vocational skills that could one day mean a second chance. Picture it, prisoners waking before dawn, kneading dough, baking bread, and delivering it to their fellow inmates. Bread that once drained taxpayer rands now flows from inside the prison walls. To Groenewald, this is efficiency. To his critics, it's exploitation. He counters that view forcefully. You cannot have inmates sitting in cells doing nothing, sitting there idle. This is also part of rehabilitation. To Groenewald, this is not slave labor, it's dignity, it's skill building, it's purpose. And he insists that it's all voluntary, bound by South African labor law and human rights standards. But here's where the story takes an even more shocking turn. It isn't just about bread, food, or rehabilitation. It's about the thousands of foreign nationals filling South Africa's prisons. Right now, around 26,000 foreign nationals sit behind bars, costing the nation over our 11 million every single day. Groenewald's response is blunt and unapologetic. Deport them. Send them home. If they want to continue with their criminality, they should do it in their own country. These are words that echo with both frustration and fury. For many South Africans, this is common sense. Why should struggling taxpayers carry the burden of criminals who are not even citizens? But for human rights groups, the statement cuts deep, raising alarms about discrimination, international law, and South Africa's responsibilities on the global stage. Here lies the tension. On one side, a government fighting to save money, strengthen security, and rehabilitate offenders. On the other, critics who see a dangerous path, one that risks turning prisons into factories and foreigners into scapegoats. Ordinary citizens are caught in the middle. For the struggling mother who pays tax but barely feeds her children, Groenewald's words sound like relief. For activists and lawyers, they sound like a warning bell of injustice. But what does it really mean for South Africa? If prisons produce their own food, will it truly ease the taxpayers' burden? Or will it simply mask the deeper crisis, a correctional system stretched to breaking point, and a society fractured by inequality and crime? And what about rehabilitation? Can baking bread and growing food really prepare inmates for a new life? Or will it become just another cycle of labor with little chance of escape once they're released? Viewers, this is where you come in. Do you believe prisoners should work to sustain themselves? Or does this cross the line into exploitation? And even deeper, how would your own community react if thousands of foreign prisoners were suddenly deported back into their countries of origin? Would it bring relief or create new waves of instability? Asterisk asterisk. The political fallout is just beginning. Some ANC members have cautiously supported Groenewald's move, arguing that tough measures are needed in tough times. Others whisper that this is a distraction, a smokescreen from the government's deeper failures to manage budgets and fight corruption. One thing is clear: this initiative is not just about bread, it's about power. It's about how a government treats its most vulnerable, prisoners, foreigners, and taxpayers alike. And it's about whether South Africa can still find balance between justice, humanity, and survival. As the debate rages, prison bakeries are being built. Foreign inmate numbers remain high. Taxpayers continue to pay. And Minister Pieter Groenewald stands firm, declaring his plan as the path forward, no matter how controversial. So where will this lead? Will South Africa's prisons become models of self-sufficiency, hailed for saving money and rehabilitating lives? Or will they become symbols of exploitation, division, and anger? The story is far from over. This is more than just a policy change. It's a test of values. A test of whether South Africa can uphold justice, protect its people, and reform its prisons without losing sight of humanity. If you found this story gripping, don't just scroll away. Like this video, share it with your friends, and tell us in the comments what you think. Should prisoners work for their bread, and should foreign nationals be deported? And for more powerful, real-life stories that reveal the struggles, the politics, and the truth behind South Africa's headlines, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Because the next chapter of this story might be even more shocking than the last.